And welcome on in, everybody, to a victorious edition of the WyoNation Postgame Show. I am your host, Chad Smith, riding solo tonight, as far as I know, but you never know. Someone may pop in. But welcome on in as Wyoming is celebrating a 15-14 victory over Washington State. If you're watching this on YouTube, welcome on in, as well as on X. The X feed, I'm not sure if it's working too well today. Again, who knows? Elon Musk doing Elon things, but welcome on in. Head on over to the YouTube channel if you haven't made it yet. And I'm really here to get your chat. So get your chats in, get your questions, your comments. What a crazy game. Wyoming begins the season August 31st with a road loss to Arizona State, but finishes it on November 30th with a road win at Washington State as heavy underdogs, 17-point underdogs. And Wyoming played one of their better games defensively of the year, and we'll get into that. We'll talk about it all, the struggles, but the season is over, and Wyoming will finish 3-9, but it's much better to be here talking about a win than a loss, of course. So we'll give a few more minutes for everybody to get on in. Let me do a little posting here, live here on this broadcast to get people over to the YouTube. But I'm really interested in your guys' thoughts of what you saw during this game. And then, right, we're into the offseason now, too. So that's some stuff we can talk about. Obviously, no bowl game for the Cowboys. A big week coming up here. Signing day is next week. Transfer portal opens up next week. There's going to be really no rest for Cowboy news as things are going to move thick and fast. But we're here to talk about this game. 15-14 winners. And let's get the stats up on the screen, and we can talk about that first. Well, let's get that going here. All right, there is your final box score. Shay's in the house. This team is bowl eligible if Caden starts the season. The coaches' play rotations have been awful all season. Okay. I would agree with all that, of course, but we'll get into that later. Let's talk about the good things, because Wyoming won for only the third time all season, and this is by far their best win, right? A road win against a team who had 8 wins on the season, Washington State. Evan Svoboda, kind of a weird game for him, up and down, but what I want you to point towards, so his final numbers look pretty darn good, right? If you told me at the beginning of the game, 200 yards, a touchdown, 62%, I'd say, all right, we're cooking. But if you look over here, first quarter, not so great. 3 of 5. Okay, 55 yards or 45 yards. Second quarter, 4 of 7 with a pick. Third quarter, he was really struggling, 4 of 10. But look at this fourth quarter. This fourth quarter, folks, is where he really turned it around. 10 of 12 for 128 yards. Or for 100, sorry. 10 of 12 for 100 yards in the passing department. And if you look at the drives, something with him at quarterback is very unique here. His 2 best drives of the game were the 2-minute drive at the end of the first half and then the end of the second half. I think for whatever reason, you put him in a 2-minute offense, he's not thinking as much as he does the rest of the time, and he just plays football, and he makes plays. The rest of the time, he overthinks, and it's paralysis by analysis. Flint, yes. Everybody channel your inner Dave Walsh. The score, the score. Shay says 2 drop passes or his stats would be even better. Yeah, there are some drops for sure, but he also had some pretty uncatchable balls, as we always see. But as I said here, this fourth quarter, 10 of 12 for 100 yards and a touchdown. Coming up key when he needed it. I want to get your guys' thoughts on some of this stuff on that last drive that I thought was kind of controversial. How about the chop block call that could have derailed them, right? I do remember they got a first down. Don't remember on which play, but they called a chop block. And I would like to get some clarification on that. As far as I know, the rules, chop blocks are when people are engaged. The offensive lineman hit the guy high, but disengaged, and then the running back came and cut him low in the tackle box, which, as far as I understand, is still 100% legal. Unless I'm getting wrong with the rules. I know they changed some of the chop block rules. Am I thinking of it as the wrong way? Is it, I thought chop blocks were legal within the tackles, but outside is when they made them illegal. If that is the case, to how I know the rules, that was a bad call, and Wyoming had to overcome that. Wyoming also had to overcome the pass interference or holding call you could have called on Durr on third down. And on there, that's a teaching moment for him. He needs to fight back to that ball. And if he does, just tries to fight back a little, they get the flag and Wyoming gets the ball at the 1. But in the end, they don't need it. Gillenborg hits the end zone from Svoboda. Wyoming takes the lead. They go for 2. A predictable quarterback run up the middle, doesn't get it. And then that opened up the door for Wazoo, right, to, with 3 timeouts, 25 seconds left to kick a field goal. We thought they were going to be on the edge of field goal range. The officials made a bad call live, but replay comes in and stops a big gain. Think how much different this game would have been if that first that play was called good. Sean's in the house. Bad spots and critical spots, yes. Right? I think it was at the beginning of the last drive or the second to last drive, Wyoming, right? They had 2 first downs, clearly, and they marked them short of the mark twice. Again, that's where I'd like to see Saville actually complain to the refs and challenge. You can challenge plays. One of those spots should have been challenged. He said, yeah, Ryan Leaf. Hold on, I got skipped there. Ryan Leaf, yep, was also making those same statements that the spots were terrible. And he was questioning the referees a lot as well. So, yeah, keep your comments and stuff in. TG's in the house. Good to see you again. Says, happily conflicted. Winning is always desired instinct. Nothing else is close, but I'm uneasy that the staff think they got it figured out. Yeah, we'll have to see. I don't think they'd act that way, but it is certainly possible. And, right, I've been as critical of anybody of the staff, but you have to give them a lot of credit. Last week, Wyoming played really well against a ranked Boise team in a home. Right? We have nothing to play for, so it's good to see the defense, and that's another thing I want to talk about. How about this defense? Where has this defense been all season? It is a defense that we expected to see all year, and we didn't really see them. We saw them a little bit last week. We saw it today. I have the numbers here. So Wyoming holds Washington State to 14 points. Well, did you know, heading into today, I want to make sure I have this right, Washington State was 7th in the country and scoring offense, averaging 38.8 points a game. And Wyoming on the road holds them to 14. Absolutely incredible. Also, Wyoming's been getting gashed yard-wise. Washington State entered today, let's look at this, 12th in football, averaging 454 yards per game. Wyoming held them to 285, which is, let me refresh that. That should be right? Because they didn't move the ball there at the end. I just want to make sure that's the right number. If it's 285, that's Wyoming's best defensive yardage all season. Even Idaho got more yards. Yeah, 285 is a season low for the Wyoming defense. Just double checking this here. No, it's not. Idaho got 225, sorry, but that is only the second time all year Wyoming has held their opponent to under 300 yards. Kyle's in the house. Almost didn't want the Pac-12 runner-ups to lose to the bottom of the Mountain West. Yeah. I don't know. Were those refs? I think I've seen those refs before. Do we know if they were affiliated with any league or not? Hard to say. But Yeah, the effort of the Wyoming defense to hold Washington State to under 300 yards, hold them to 14 points. A lot of credit has to be made there. Wyoming, right, had nothing to play for, a 2-win team, but they got the job done. So that is very good there. Let's get these stats back up, and let's take a look at some other things as we go away here. Again, the thing I like about this offense under Jay Johnson is the distribution. Look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 different people caught passes. I think that's a positive thing that we've learned this year from this offense. How about this here? Whaley. 12 rushes for 69 yards. Kind of struggled in the first half, but once he got going, really, really good. And it begs the question, why hasn't he played all year round? Meat Hook, good to see you. Nice to get a W against the Pack. That's right. That's right. Like the Nuggets when they won the NBA championship, their motto, and they still use it, is take the L on the way out. Pac-12. Take that L. TG. This is a massive internal scouting of the entire football staff and operations. And yeah, and Savell did mention that he's going to take a look at everything. Outlaw Cowboy says the lever of effort was day and night. Yeah. I thought that you really saw that they were fighting, especially these seniors, right, who knew this was their last game, their last time to wear brown and gold. And they really, really fought. And so I don't know if it's a question if the defense finally was like as healthy as they've been all year. That could be a theme that falls into it as well. Bruisers in the house. See, going to crap on JJ for the flea flicker as well. Shotgun 4th and 1. Just too many bonehead play calls for the D to compensate. Yes and no. Again, we've talked about all season going shotgun out of 4th and 1 doesn't make any sense for the most part, but that's not just a Wyoming thing, as we've talked about ad nauseum. And the flea flicker was a good call. There were 2 wide receivers underneath, wide open. It's just a bad read by Evan, which he had plenty of today. But to his credit, he got the job done when he needed to in that fourth quarter, as we just talked about, going 10 of 12 for 100 yards and a touchdown. Even though he was responsible for 3 turnovers today. So again, I guess happy that he got the win, but I don't ever want to see him play quarterback for us ever again. You can see, right? You can see what makes it tantalizing for him to be in there. Some of the throws he makes are amazing, and the arm strength is amazing, but the problem is consistency. At the Division I level, you got to be able to do that consistently, and he just can't. And that's why, more than likely, he's going to be a tight end next year. I don't know. I don't think that's the right position for him. I just make him a fullback because I don't think, to me, he looks like a straight line runner. Agree to disagree on that FF. Okay. But I agree. I think your sentiment of we've gone to the well way too many times with the flea flicker. There's other trick plays you could run. That is exactly the case. So, yeah, if you guys are on Twitter, for those of you commenting on Twitter, watching on Twitter, typing right back to me. Are you on your phone or on your desktop? We're trying to do some troubleshooting to see what's going on. I know it seems like it works pretty well on phone, but on the computer, it seems to be doing weird stuff. So I'd appreciate if you could let me know what's going on there so we can do a little troubleshooting. Desktop. Okay. Yeah. Gotcha. Yeah. Head on over. If you're watching on desktop, if you go to below one of the links, I've got the link to the YouTube feed, which is the way to go until we figure that out. Or switch to your phone. I think phones are working. But yeah, let's see some other notes here. I wanted to look at Wyoming with this win. Okay, Kyle's on his tablet. The tablet is working. It's not like all whacked out. Wyoming with this win avoids having a 2-loss season, which I think we all thought was coming, which is good. So Wyoming avoids their first 2-loss season since 2015, which was that the first or second year under Craig Bowl? 2 wins. And then after that, you got to go way back to Vic Koenning, 2001, 2002, back-to-back 2-win seasons. And then, of course, you got the 1-win season ahead of that under Vic Koenning. Still can't believe he lasted 3 years with 5 wins in total there. But Wyoming does get their 3rd win of the season, and this is Wyoming's first 3-win season since, let's look. I had it pulled up here. And of course, it's a little different because the games played are different. But their last 3-win season, actually, it does match, was 2010. Dave Christensen's second year, Wyoming also went 3-9. And this is where we'll start to try to be positive here. But after that 3-9 season, the next year, Wyoming went 8-5 and went to the New Mexico Bowl. So for Wyoming, you hope that they can have that type of improvement this year. You hope that the offense can take a step forward with a healthy Caden Anderson, presumably your starter next year. And then the defense was played really well these past 2 games. Lose a lot of people, of course, so there's a rebuild job there. Yeah, I got it pulled up here. Craig Bowl went 4-8 his first season, so it was the second season he went 2-10 that year. So, but Wyoming's last 3-win season was Dave Christensen in 2010, and the last 3-win season before that, well, there isn't one. Oh, there is. 1985. You got to go back to Al Kincaid, who went 3-8 in a 11-game season in the mid-'80s there. Let's see. Kyle says there's a good delay between my typing and text publishing, but seems to be working. Okay, good. Yeah, it's just, you'll know on the desktop, the feed is like, I have no idea what it's doing. So we'll have to get that troubleshooted. 4-8? No. I mean, I'm looking right at it. Bowl went 4-8. Yeah, in his first year. Sorry. So, hey, Savel's only a game behind. But again, you can't really compare those because, right, J Bowl, that'd be interesting, coach, huh? Craig Bowl took over a program in complete disarray and so got off to a slow start. But Savel inherited a 9-win team, and we dropped to 3 wins. So there's a lot of coaching things that need to be cleaned up. And we could start talking about some offseason stuff. I'm ready to flip the page. I mean, there's not really much more you can say about this game other than the coaches did a good job keeping the players engaged. I thought they did a really great job because it was easy for us to roll over in the situation we're playing for. And I think Washington State probably wasn't ready for that. So I don't know. Let's look defensively. Haven't looked at the defensive stats yet. About Tariqus Davis, I thought he had one of his best games. Got the interception at the end, of course. 7 tackles leading the team. Connor Shea, 7 total tackles, and Sienoa with 7 total tackles as well. White and Eckler getting the job done. So there's kind of your defensive leaders, right? All kind of leading the team, as I said. Westland left the game with a concussion, perhaps. So Wyoming was really short-handed on that defensive line, but did get the job done. Yeah, thank you, TG. It's been real fun to host these. And yeah, we'll have to wait until next football season, but we'll try to do maybe some basketball ones for some of the big games. Let's see. Bruiser says, to be honest, Savell isn't going anywhere. He isn't. I agree, 100%. Wyoming's not going to get rid of him. A, because they're completely risk averse. B, they can't afford it. Whaley comes back with Anderson, and we don't have a massive exodus in the receiver corp. That'd be a huge win. Yeah, I mean, you could have the makings of a good offense there, right? If you keep Durr, you keep Sargent, you keep Stevenson, you have Whaley in the backfield, and you have Anderson. That is a good start to a solid offense, perhaps. To be for sure. But on the defensive side, yep, it's going to be a rebuild. But they'll have the opportunity. Some of these young guys got a lot of playing time because of all the injuries. And they'll just have to hopefully make some good moves in the portal, right? Use the portal to your advantage, which we'll talk about here soon. Clint says he just got home and saw the score. Yeah. Very surprising. So again, Wyoming entered tonight as a 17-point underdog. Wins the game 15-14. So great to see for sure. And yeah, as we said, the offseason starts right away. Signing day is Wednesday. Then the portal opens up a couple days after that. Roundup needs some t-shirts? I don't know. Maybe. What do you want to see on a t-shirt for the Roundup? Brainstorm some stuff. But yeah, I'm just ready to flip the page, right? And let's see what happens here. I can sit here and rail on all the decisions that have been made this year. But that won't be great. I mean, this is a team that easily could have made a bowl with proper coaching. Let's hope that this coaching staff has turned the corner after these final two games. And I will take Jay Savell as a man of his word that he's going to really look at things and change what needs to be changed, because obviously at times things were completely dysfunctional. Yeah, Outlook Cowboy just says I faded them hard. Never been happier to lose money. Yeah, I hear you there. So yeah, now we just have to hope that they can kind of figure out what's going to happen. The big question is, right, will the staff come back completely intact? I don't think it should, but we'll see if they make any coaching moves again. I don't know. I'd probably lean towards no, because it seems they really want stability and continuity. But again, stability and continuity just for the sake of stability and continuity don't do you any good. Drew says, portal time for Savell. We need a better back to Anderson. I got you. Yeah, I mean, right now, Whaley's the only running back with any experience coming back next year. And the portal will be interesting. Probably do a show sometime next week all about these new roster rules, but we could just kind of sneak peek here. Wyoming's got to use this portal to their advantage. With the roster limits coming in, Power 5 or the Power 4 teams all have large rosters. The new limit is 105. You can go that high with your scholarships. And that means that there's going to be a lot of kids who are being basically cut from teams. And that's talent is just going to trickle down the levels. It's going to hit every level of football. And with that in mind as well, I think players going up from like the Mountain West to the higher level, that's going to make it even more important, because guys, you're with your scholarships, you're going to want proven commodities. And so I think this portal season is going to be the craziest we've ever seen. And Wyoming needs to play in it, but they need to be successful, because let's be honest here. right? They brought DJ Jones in as a transfer portal running back from North Carolina. He played 4 games and disappeared. You have Devin Body Jr. Came from Texas Tech last year. Just kind of sat on the bench last year. This year, played 4 games, disappeared. So really need to recruit that well and make some good decisions and bring in some impact guys. Clint says, the kid from San Antonio is a stud, reminds me a lot of Brian Hill. Yeah, I don't know. Again, too, right? You got to know about these coaches. They really don't like to play true freshmen unless they absolutely have to. So, again, that's why I say you need to figure out where you need help, and running back is way up on that list. And you need to bring in proven players because I don't think they're going to rely too much on true freshmen unless they're just unbelievable players. So that's hard to say, but a good thought for sure. Whaley's only got another season. Why another running back? Well, because you need 2 or 3. I mean, Whaley can get hurt. You're 1 play away from blowing out your knee, and we should know that at Wyoming. How many running backs have we lost over the past 3-4 years? And again, we don't know who's coming back, right? So again, this roster puzzle has to be put together quickly. You got to figure out who's coming back, who's not going to enter the portal, and we'll see. Now, Savell said that he believes, after talking to people, everybody that they want to come back, that they're relying on to come back, will be coming back. Again, we'll have to see. We'll have to see where that goes. And we'll find out soon how much attrition there will be in the portal. But again, use the portal to your advantage. If you lose guys, that opens up spots for you to go get proven players who are going to be coming down from bigger schools who are just going to want to play. The biggest example of that, right, would be Ja'Cory Hawkins that Wyoming got from Ole Miss. And he came in and he played great for, 2 years. So that's type of the guys that you can go get in the portal. Guys who, maybe 3rd, 4th string at a big school, but are talented enough to play in the Mountain West. And you got to be able to identify and evaluate those guys and bring them in. And Wyoming can, make a step to get back to a bowl next year, no doubt, with the right roster moves. So, but it's just going to be crazy because every school is going to be in the same boat. So the roster puzzle, I don't envy these coaches now having to figure out how this is all going to work because it's got to happen pretty quickly. But in terms of the overall 105 number, you don't have to get down to that, as far as I'm aware, until the start of next season. So I'd expect a lot of these rosters, they're going to stay bloated. And spring ball is where, after spring balls, is when you're really going to see a lot of guys hit the portal. And that's another opportunity you'll have because you're going to lose guys, right? Guys will lose jobs during spring and such. So you have this whole college football always evolving. How about we do a Mountain West scoreboard here, and we'll wrap up for tonight. There's really not much else to say other than what a good win, and to end the season on a positive note and not be depressed all season or off season coming off a 2-9. So let's go to the scoreboard right now. And here is the biggest news. All right. Well, we'll go backwards. Let's see. These were yesterday, right? San Jose State wins a non-conference game against Stanford, which is quite interesting. But the Sheep yesterday won. And they had an outside chance to make the Mountain West title game to play the Boise. And but they needed UNLV to lose to that happen. And as you can see up here, UNLV is laying it to their in-state rivals, the Nevada Wolfpack, 38-7. So next Friday night In Boise will be UNLV versus Boise State for the Mountain West title game, which should be pretty good. You're going to have a 10-win UNLV team against an 11-win Boise State team who beat Oregon State. Otherwise, UCLA defeats Fresno in a non-conference game. Tonight, you got Hawaii playing on the islands against New Mexico. Air Force and San Diego State are scoreless, but here's the big one. As I said, UNLV, Nevada. Yeah, I plan on we'll probably be doing a signing day look at the class meet hook midweek for sure. So there we go. There is your Mountain West scoreboard. Yeah, and that's why we're here. But not a whole lot of venting today because Wyoming won. It's a little frustrating at times, but as we said, hey, the boys fought. And that is just good to see, something to build on. Hopefully, a lot of people stay around and we can build this out. Now, Drew, you did say this. I can see Savell staying, but not Berman. That is a big, big question. An off-season question for sure. I have no inside info, but we probably need to start digging. Now, if anybody's associated with UW is watching this, you can let me know if I'm wrong. But as far as I know, according to public records, Tom Berman's contract runs out as athletic director this coming summer in June, I do believe. And so I find it very odd that they would let his contract get down to its final 6 months, essentially, without him being extended. So that is something to monitor as well about what is the future of the leadership of the Wyoming athletic department. Because why would you let him get so low on his contract? Typically, they've extended him by now in the past. And again, he's been around for a long time, and we've all talked about where it might be better to get another fresh set of eyes out there, but we'll see. Dean's in the house. Big win. That is right, Dean. Yeah, I mean, I don't think any of us saw this coming, right? I didn't. So good fight by the boys. The coaching staff had them prepared. Yep, and Drew says reading everybody's comments is great just to get the vibe of everybody. But yeah, so I think we'll leave it at that. Let's see. Is it not Bank, the university president, that makes the decision? Yes, it is the university president who hires and fires athletic directors. But like many people said, I don't think I've ever seen him talk about the athletic department ever, at least publicly. So yeah, they have a decision to make, right? You can't. I find it very odd that he's in a kind of a lame duck situation here, where he's in the final half of his contract. So we'll see. We'll see about that. So a lot of things to talk about soon. The games are over, but the news and notes will just roll on. December will be very busy. You were told they will keep the money advice and consent. Okay, so yeah, it's all about, right, the fundraising in the NIL, which Berman is very good at. Sean says, when was the last non-conference road win? That's a good question. I could look that up here. That should be pretty easy to find, huh? Let's do this really quick, and we'll end on that note. Let me get to the Wyoming's thing, and probably somebody will figure it out before I find it. I can't think of it off the top of my head. Obviously, it was not this year. previously. In 23, Wyoming lost to Texas, so new. 22, Wyoming lost to BYU on the road and Illinois. 21, Wyoming beat, how about Connecticut? There is your answer. UConn, 24-22 in stores. And then earlier that year, they beat Northern Illinois, if you remember, 50-43. So in 2021, they actually had 2 non-conference road wins. So it's been 2 seasons where they didn't get any, but they only had 1 apiece in those years. So there's your answer. So very good, folks. So, all right. So victorious post-game. Wyoming finishes the season 3-9. As we said, next week, there's just going to be loads of news. Signing day, transfer portal, coaches. Okay, yeah, Drew's going to be the wise guy. Yeah, last non-conference win was technically the Arizona Bowl. Sure. So, yeah, so the season's over. Now the silly season begins. And we will be back midweek with some of the gain from WyoNation to talk about the signing class, to talk about any portal news, any coaching news, whatever comes down the pike. It's going to be a very busy December. And we will here to break it all down. So thank you, everybody, for joining me tonight. Appreciate all of you joining these post games throughout the season. And we'll talk again real soon. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. And we'll see you next week.